Welcome everyone to Simply Hermosa, What Makes You Beautiful. I am super honored tonight to have Selena Barajas,
Hello.
Azucena Perry.
Hello.
And for those of you that do not know who these beautiful women are, Mirena Mobile Boutique and coming soon to your neighborhood,
Coming soon.
Luna y Sol Cafe. And then, of course, we've got the Mini Poderosas here. So I am super honored to have you ladies here. Thank you for agreeing to be on this show. We're going to just kick things off. Let's go. I know that, me and you have gone back a little bit. And I'm so...
Way back. 2021.
I know. So I want to say thank you. Thank you for supporting me. Thank you for being a part of Simply Hermosa.
Of course.
This year was very special and kind of tragic too at the same time because one of your models unfortunately passed away. This year we have, in honor of her memory, we have decided to do a scholarship in her honor to honor students, incoming high school or outgoing high school students that are, one, planning to go to maybe college, or if not college, some kind of trade school that includes beauty school. Really, it just to push their studies further along. And I'm so honored that you said that you would help me,
Of course, yeah.
give away that scholarship. And so for those of you that don't know, Simply Hermosa is a fashion show that started, and this is going to be our third one. And I was looking for plus size clothing, and you said, Vern, I don't have that many, but what I do have, I'd love to be a part of it. And I'm like, okay, so we're meeting in the parking lot and we're grabbing clothes. And and then she was like, but I got to be somewhere, but I'll be back. So thank you. Thank you. Because every year I ask you to participate, and every year you do come back. And so the magic question that I ask every woman, and we're just going to kick it off there, was what, Selena Barajas, I'm going to say it like that, what makes you beautiful?
Ooh, wow. First, thank you for just allowing us to be here today. It's an honor. I've been watching your Simply Hermosa and your journey and this podcast and listening to all the other reinas, all the other queens that have been on. For me, it stems from what makes me feel beautiful, stems from the energy that I'm around, thinking really intentionally. This year, my big word was intentional. So it's no longer, which is important, right? Like the exterior, the clothes, the makeup, the nails, but it's really like from within. I'm big on like the beauty from within. And before coming over here, before driving over here, I asked my daughter, Sofia, Luna, and Mia Sol, what makes you feel beautiful? Just to kind of see from that youth perspective.
Yes.
And they were like, Mom, being kind, being strong, using your voice. And it's true, as me, as their mom and as an adult, I'm big on, what you're putting out in the universe. But through Mirena Mobile Boutique, it's really been this community of reinahood that makes me feel beautiful. The energy that I'm around, the people that is in the circle, what inspires me, from the intentions of like the routine I have now in the mornings, waking up early, going on long walks with my husband. That's been helping me making me feel beautiful, from just the views that we see, the dreams that we share, and drinking coffee. Lately, I've been drinking a lot of coffee. That makes me feel alive and beautiful. But really, the community of reinas. Like, I've learned throughout my life of the twists and turns, like who's near me, who's around me, and what's uplifting me. So, if that energy is low, then I'm going to feel low. And what I strive to do through Mi Reina is helping women feel beautiful through the clothes, yes, but also the community that we've created. So when you ask me, clothes, I really try to create extra small to 3X I really try to think of all the other reinas, but overall, the reina community.
Well, and let me just say that it's been an honor because just being around you, you exemplify and lift so many. You really are, in my opinion, one of the shining examples of what a Simply Hermosa is. You know, Simply Hermosa is all about a community, but at the same time, the woman that and she's in all of us, really. She reaches out, she cares, she uplifts, she empowers. That is something that I associate with you. Empowerment and honestly, love. At the end of the day, when we're with you, I feel really loved and special and grateful to be in your orbit.
Yeah, and that energy.
Yeah.
The energy. Well, you know, what you put out there in the universe is what you receive. And again, going back to my daughters, I always think, like, what would the young Selena want?
Yeah.
You know, who's the young Selena that I hope, it's like that healing for me too, of like going back to my younger self and trying to create that better world.
And you absolutely are correct. But you also had an amazing support system, amazing women to look up to. I know we've had the conversation about your abuelita and your mom. Your mom is absolutely beautiful as well. Very loving, very giving, very, you know, also just really good people. And it makes, I mean, it's, you can see it when you're around somebody that's just happy. You know, at the end of the day, just be happy. Like, just because you're alive, just because you have the things that you do have. That's really touching, and that's something that I've always encountered with you.
Oh, thank you. It goes back to the community. You know, the reinas, I don't know whoever's watching, but they really, like, I tell them, they've brought so much inspiration to my path. Everybody's stories, everybody's visions that they've shared, to just how, you know, how beautiful they feel.
And being around
Yes.
each other.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Just pick up on that energy, and you want to.
Well, it's like
Get
you
more.
feed on it, and it
Yes.
grows, and it's always so impactful. You know, again, you do certain things for the community. You also do like a Mi Reina hike. I was lucky to go on that. Unfortunately, I missed it this last time, but
It was fun.
6 in the morning.
But it's awesome that you got, even though it was 6 in the morning, you did have a big turnout. I was watching, you know, some of the videos, and that's awesome that you have the turnout. And again, it goes back to, because of what you radiate, it comes back to you. I'm so excited to talk to Azucena, and I know you're kind of on a time crunch, so I really want to focus, you know, on some upcoming projects that you've got going on.
Yay.
And maybe just do a recap of the prom giveaway. Let's talk about that.
That was.
Yeah, it's always like so magical.
Talk about energy.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
magic. That just.
It was beautiful.
Yeah.
And
It was.
And it couldn't have happened without you.
Wow, couldn't happen with all of us and all the glam fairy queens and him and her bridal, you know, for coming through again, second year in a row, donating new dresses for the reinas who submitted their application to our prom giveaway. All the young females that
And the glam committee.
won the glam committee, you know, the hair, the nails. It was really something that I wanted to do again this year, even though I knew I was going to be on a time crunch. It's just something that's really important for me, and I wanted to do it, but I wouldn't have done it without this group of reinas, including both you. So thank you for donating your time, because we're all volunteering our time, and we all have a story, and we all connect with these young reinas, either if it's a school that we went to. You know, I went to Choya High School. We had one of our reina recipients from Choya this year and last year be the top winners, and
Tucson High.
Tucson High. Yeah, we
You
had a lot
had
of
some
Tucson
from
High girls.
Republic, you know, from Desert View. Yeah, you had a lot of amazing young women, and seeing the emotion that came through when they were told that, you know, they would get the whole outfit. I mean, there were several that broke down in tears and you know, just couldn't believe it. And so that's something so beautiful. Thank you.
Yeah, I think that listening to their stories and how some of them had adversity and they overcame it.
Mm-hmm.
And most of, I think all of them were accepted to college, if
Yeah,
I'm not
all of
mistaken.
them. And at the U of A, the majority
Yeah.
of them are going to be
Yeah.
Wildcats.
Oh,
And we were
that's
at
awesome.
campus
Yeah.
that day,
Yeah.
too.
So I think that energy of them working so hard and they were at the end, and
Yeah.
then we were able to award them with this. They were just so happy, and being in that energy and in that room, it was We
amazing.
cannot explain it. You'd have to be there too.
And that's something that, again, it comes back to, we live in this community. We want to set the example for our young ladies, and that's kind of what, not kind of, that's what you do, Azucena, with Mini Poderosas. And that's what, Simply Hermosa, we want to not only set the example, but show our young ladies what a beautiful woman is. Just because she's not the ideal society, like I look at my mom, I look at my tias, they're amazing, beautiful women, and they're not supermodels. It's just the way that they care for their families, and and there's honor in that. There's beauty in that, taking care of, because some of the old traditions are gone. Now that our elders are leaving us, a lot of people don't know how to make tortillas. They don't know how to, they don't know how to cook. They don't know how to clean. Like, they don't have survival skills that you would learn hanging out with Nana. You would learn, gardening. You would learn how to wash. You would, like, just basic survival skills. And it didn't matter if you were a girl or a boy. She had everybody out there, cooking, cleaning. And that's something that we're getting away from traditional family values because we're all so busy working, and sometimes we don't slow down to say, hey, what's the example that we're setting here?
Yeah, I think with COVID we did for a little bit.
Yeah, that's true. Learn how to bake bread.
How to be home.
But it's so important to put your best foot forward, because you don't know who's watching. Your babies are watching you. So, and that was part of what was Simply Hermosa was too, it's why I started it, because if I can't love myself, if I don't love myself, what am I showing my kids? What am I showing my daughters? And I started realizing when I talked to my mom and I talked to my tia, pues yo no me siento bonita. What are you talking about? And I thought that was so sad. And so that's why I was like, okay, I got to do this. This is something I have to do, because this is generational. We have it in our heads because we don't look like what's on TV, then we're not beautiful. And that's just not true.
Yeah, and that's bringing awareness to end that generational, because in a way it is trauma, because a lot of people tell you you're not beautiful, you're not this, you don't fit that profile. So it becomes innate, and it becomes something that's part of you, and you start to believe it. So I think that what you're doing, bringing awareness, is very important, because if the little ones are watching, they need to know, become aware.
Well, and at the end of the day, it's so beautiful to hear your daughters here say, your heart, your the way that you treat people, that's good, but we also want them to see in themselves.
Well, it's that representation and that validation, right? Even like you're talking about the traditions. I feel like our community, hopefully, if there is an elder making tortillas, like hopefully we could, through like programs like nonprofits like Mini Ponderosas, teach these generations, and hopefully the younger ones, how to create a business out of that like tradition, and how to
Keep it
alive, and also just how to like celebrate it. I think with beauty, sometimes we're embarrassed of like ourselves, or embarrassed of maybe something we're wearing, and I feel like you have to have that support system to really like see someone. And going back to the prom giveaway, that was like always my hope. I felt like I wanted these 10 young reinas to know that we see them, and we see them for their accomplishments, their success, and the struggles that they've encountered or encountering still, that we see them, and we're going to be there to support their journey, and know that there is the light, I don't want to say at the end of the tunnel, but like there is some shining moments throughout life where it's like sprinkled like magic, that even the room's dark, but if there's just a little glimmer,
right?
Hopefully that will bring them inspiration, and that's kind of like the goal.
And I feel like you accomplished it 10 times over. Like I said, it was so magical to be there, to see the impact, and hopefully, going forward, it grows into something a little bit more every year, because again, it's just doing good work, celebrating another.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's
No, I know it's going to grow, and now that like we've come across each other, it's, for me, what would be the dream would be to get these young reinas, in the elementary stage and talk to them about like those life skills. And then by the time they're seniors in high school, we already know who we want to award. They don't even need to submit an application.
Yeah,
it's like they've put in work, and they've come to our events, they've participated in discussions, and they know where they want to go, and we could help support them.
Yeah, the whole giving back too is very important.
Yeah,
because once they experience that, a whole level of enlightenment happens with them.
Well, it's just feeding your soul, doing something for somebody else. It's just, for me, it's feeding my soul. Like, because again, it's not just me in this whole little world. We've got many people, and I may not be able to touch everybody, but the ones that I do touch, I hope that I leave them in a better place.
Yeah, that's, it's like that quote by Maya Angelou.
With the star?
Or with like her quote of, it doesn't matter, like, I forgot, but how she made somebody feel at the end of the day. It's like, it doesn't really matter. It does matter, the careers and whatnot, but it's really how you make that person feel, and that's what I think about a lot of, like, how am I, what's the impact I'm going to leave on this earth if, God forbid, I'm not here tomorrow. Like, what are people going to remember me as?
Absolutely. So let's talk about real quick Luna y Sol, just because I don't want to hurry you.
No, it's okay. I have time. I have time to.
I was just like, I got to get her out.
No, I have time.
So tell us about Luna y Sol. Where did that come from? Or what was like how do you come up with something so awesome?
Well, how much time do I have now that I'm here? Wow. For those that know me, know that I love coffee. Like, that's my go-to. That's what brings me joy. That's what brings me, motivation. But I guess really probably what planted the seed in my head for a coffee shop was when I was in grad school. When I was at UCLA, I remember talking to my advisor and telling him I would love to create like this social entrepreneurship business back home in Tucson, and a coffee shop I actually told him, like, with a boutique on the side. And this is before Mi Reina.
Wow.
And I just had this like vision.
So you just manifested.
Yeah, no, for sure. Like, I have to be careful what I announce, because a lot of the times, like, if I announce something, it happens. But it really started when I was a U of A student, and the only coffee shop that I would go to was Starbucks. Like, that was really the only coffee shop near the house where I grew up. And then when I moved back, when my family and I moved back 10 years later, there was still no coffee shop. And, you always have that dream of, like, I've been telling people, it's kind of hitting reality now, because now I know the little steps that it takes to get to this dream. But it's like saying, I want to be a Broadway star. You don't know how much work it's going to take to be a Broadway star. So it's like, I've been saying, I want to open up a coffee shop for years. And when I shared that with my husband, when we were like dating, he took it and ran with it too. Like, he kind of said,
Nice.
yeah, that'd be cool. And then when we lived in Los Angeles, any free time we got, it was to visit a coffee shop, and we had our favorites. And I saw a lot of cool coffee shops. I experienced a lot of cool coffee shops in Los Angeles. I have a couple favorite. I'll shout them out: Homegirl Cafe and Hilltop Coffee in Inglewood. And those two coffee shops were ran by folks of color, Black and brown communities. And I didn't see that at all here in Tucson. And when we had this opportunity in 2021, probably around the same time we met, I wanted to get into commercial development.
I know, we did have a long conversation about that, and I was like, oh, wow, she's just going places. This woman, oh, my gosh.
And again, it was like, I said it, but I didn't know the steps,
you really?
and if anything I learned when I was in grad school, it was this class I took, social entrepreneurship. And this class taught me that if you know everything, like that the journey that it's going to take, sometimes that reality hits and that fear hits and you won't do it. So I'm very thankful that I didn't know a lot about this journey of like commercial development and starting up a coffee shop, because there is a lot of things that can be very intimidating, because there's not a lot of folks, you know, from the community that can say that they're doing it, because there's still not one locally owned coffee shop like South Tucson and on the South Side, and it's hard to seek out those models. Yeah. So rather than waiting and getting frustrated every time I have a meeting and don't know where to go, I said, let's do this. So we started in 2021 and looking at going back to my word, intentional, really thinking of intentional of the location. You know, some folks, even the bank, said I would not put a coffee shop in South Tucson based on the numbers, based on the demographics. But going back to my journey and my roots, I wanted to return back and invest in a place where my great grandparents and my mother and my dad was raised, not in the city of South Tucson, but, you know, more on 12th and Ajo area, and going back to a place that helped raise the roots where I come from, and knowing that there's a need. There's so many people in the community that I know express the same desire I have of wanting a coffee shop, and I could feel it. I could feel the excitement, and we're hopefully going to open up in the fall or December, you know, depending on where we're at with the renovations, because that's something that we're learning. But we know what we want the community to experience, and that's kind of where we're at right now with the process.
How exciting.
Very exciting.
And you're obviously going to have days of disappointment, and you're like, oh, God, what did I really get myself into? Like, is this really what I want to do? Like, I'm 3 years into it. I mean, even this morning I had this conversation with one of the girls, and I said, you know what? I don't even know why I'm doing this. Like, I really don't know why I'm doing it. What is the point of this? And she was like, well, I hate to bust your bubble, but you're past the point of no return on this. So you just, you jumped in, let's do it. And we're all with you. So you can't fail. Regardless of what happens, you can't fail. It's all a learning experience.
Yeah. And, you know, I listen to, going back to the energy that I listen to, and I listen, if you go on to like Mi Reina, I follow a lot of like other women, other reinas that have brought a lot of inspiration, a lot of entrepreneurs. I'm thankful for this journey of Mi Reina Mobile Boutique. Mi Reina is not going to go anywhere. I feel like it's going to be like a Reina club inside the coffee shop. But I'm so thankful that I didn't know what I was getting myself into with Mi Reina Mobile Boutique, because I didn't even know like I needed a business license, that I needed a wholesale license. Like there's just so many things that I didn't know, but I knew I wanted, again, going back in 2016, that there was a need for local clothing and women. I wanted women to feel good. So I feel like I'm experienced that entrepreneurship journey of like doubt and loneliness and fear and anxiety. There's been days where I've sold like 2 items at a pop-up, to days where I've sold out, you know, and it's just kind of part of the deal. It's part of the experience. And I had a conversation with somebody earlier telling her who's getting into this like entrepreneurship business of some days it's so lonely, you know, and that's why I'm big on creating this community, because we need to share those lonely days and those days of doubts, because sometimes Instagram is a facade. Like we are all like, yeah, we're doing this, or I'm doing this, I'm doing that. Like that's why I see a lot of people and they're like, well, you're so busy. And I'm like, well, yeah, I'm going to post up my busy days, but there's also days where
I'm in my pajamas.
Where I'm like, yeah, exactly.
Like pulling out my hair, like,
exactly. What? Or like days when I haven't sold anything that I keep saying it's for sale, like this, you know, and I'm just, but you got to just keep going forward. And that's the goal with our coffee shop, is I want the doors to open up for other, you know, folks in the community. Like they could set up a pop-up, or they could have a meeting there and hopefully get a job out of that meeting. And I'm just hoping that this will be a seed that could really sprout in this South Tucson community and bring so much hope and like stability for the area.
I believe it will.
I think I keep calling it the hub.
Yeah, yeah, it is. It already is. Yeah.
What I sent you this earlier. I was like, well, we have that. We're not leaving. You just need to make sure that there's plenty of bathroom space. Because we're gonna be there all day drinking coffee. Yeah.
Or tea. We'll have tea too.
It's super inspiring. Again, to see another Latina, to see another mom, to see another woman get there.
Thank you.
It's inspiring.
And making change. Really, you're a change maker.
Thank you.
Because you saw a need and you went for it. So
yeah.
Yeah. Or I tell people it's the coffee.
That
too much
too.
coffee
I mean,
where it's
whatever
like too many ideas in my head. But yeah, no, I have days like that where I'm driving and I'm not going to cuss, but I'm like, holy ish, like, what am I getting myself into? It's like, this is happening. And but then I listen to other women or other entrepreneurs like that have done remarkable things in their life. And then you hear their story of how like they didn't know what they were doing, but they did it anyways. And that brings me like, some calmness and some sense of like, okay, like every entrepreneur starts somewhere. Yeah. And it's always like with a crazy idea. That's why like when little ones, especially going back to the mini ponderosas, like if a little one has an idea, listen and also like don't critique it, don't laugh at it, celebrate it and just go with it and let them experience it. And even for adults, like I hear women, seniors that are like, oh, I'm too old to do this, or I wish I was this age, or I wish I could have done this at my younger years. And I'm like, still do it. It's just like pouring in some like confidence that they could do it too, because going back, we only have one life. And what's the life you want to live? I've always told myself I don't want to have a regret. And this coffee shop's one of the ideas where I'm like, I don't want to have a regret.
But see, that's the thing is like, I think that what holds us back is fear. And if we're not, you have to kind of go for it. Even if you fail, you learn from it.
So it's not a failure. It's a lesson. As long as you go through it and you're like, okay, what did I do wrong here? And then how can I adjust? And what did I need to learn from this so that I can do better.
And then going back to that too, like I'm big with this Reina community of like, if that person fails, don't let them stay down.
No.
Like, because so many times there's been like in the community where if it's somebody messed up or said something, that got them in the hole, like, don't shun them out.
No, because it took courage. It took courage to make that leap. It might not have worked out this way because you know what? God said there's something better for you on the other side. So you take that knowledge and then you try again. As long as you keep trying and you put your corazon into it, I think that you're going to be successful. And at the end of the day, you're successful regardless if you make that sale or not, because you actually had the courage to do something that a lot of people don't do. And it's usually the people that don't have the courage to do it are the people that are criticizing.
They're like Brene Brown. I don't know if you guys are familiar with her, but she always says, if you're not in the arena fighting, then you're in the cheap seat just criticizing and watching. So I don't want your critique if you're in the cheap seats. I want people, not critique, but feedback that are fighting in the arena with me. Because otherwise...
It's just noise.
Yeah,
exactly. And that's so valid and it's so true. That goes back to like the circle, the
and
folks that
you want to bring people around you that are doing something, that are getting better, that they're more than just chisme, they're more than just doing whatever they do on the weekend, because at the end of the day, you just have this one opportunity. Sometimes you might just have this one opportunity, and if you don't go at it with all ganas, everything that you have, then you're going to have regrets that I should have done this and I should have done that. So here we are, let's make it happen, and it is important to surround yourself with other people that are doing better than you. That's a key, doing better than you so that you can learn from them, so that you can see, okay, not necessarily copy what they're doing, but seeing their business acumen, seeing how, they're able to network, because that's a big thing too, networking with the right people. You can be in the room, but if you're not networking with the right people, you're just in the room.
Yeah, and asking a lot of questions. I think we're taught to not ask questions because we're nervous of like what they're going to say. But I ask so many questions. Like I always ask so many questions. And sometimes I ask the same question over and over, you know, and to different people because I also like to hear different perspectives. Like that's the other thing is somebody might tell you one thing and then the same question that you ask another person, they're going to tell you something completely different. So it's also going back to your intuition and sticking to what you believe in, what you want your heart to, move towards.
So we've got Jackie on here, Jackie Gallegos. We've got
Hey, Jackie.
we've got Erica Beltran. We've got our cutie from Arlia's Arrangements. I love her.
Yeah.
She's so awesome.
Yeah.
So welcome,
Yeah.
ladies. Thank you for tuning in. So again, you know, as we've all kind of developed our own kind of business sense, again, going back to the importance of networking, it is so important and it can be so gratifying because, again, that's how I met you. And then coming to your event, I met you. And I'm so inspired as well by the things that you're doing for the young reinas, for the young women in our community. Yeah. So let's talk about that. How did you get started?
Oh, talk about a journey. Well, for those of you who don't know, I'm also a school psychologist in the community. So that's how it started. The principal at the school that I was working at was always pulling me and saying, hey, can you talk to this young girl? Because I see her potential. She has good grades. And for some reason, she wants to ruin her grades for this guy that she wants to date. And so we saw that a lot. And they're like, well, you're young. You have the energy. Just go talk to her. And so it fell into that. And we created they called it the Girl Group. They named it. We started with 5 girls, the school counselor and I. And then by the time I left the school, it grew to 25 girls.
Oh, my God.
Because they all talked to each other like, oh, you should come here. We gave them that space to be themselves and talk about girl stuff. And I always, like you, I ask questions. So what's going on in social media? Like, why are you guys fighting? What is up with this? You know, so that's how it started. So we wanted to push it forward, and I always got pushback from administration. Not their fault. You know, it's the way the system is designed. We had to steal time from their lunch for us to have these girl groups, right?
Right.
And so we wanted to put it part of the curriculum, but they were like, no, it's not academic, it's not this. But we taught social emotional learning, and I feel like that's important for them to be successful academically. So I was wasting a lot of energy there. So I was like, you know what? Why don't I just create something outside of here that they can be a part of, and they can make time outside of school to come and do it. So I ran this pilot group in 2016, and it was successful, but it was small, you know. And then I took a break because I wanted to start my own family. And then in 2020, when I was sitting at home like everyone else, I was like, this needs to come out, it needs to be born. Is this wonderful idea I have? I keep getting wonderful feedback about it. It needs to happen. So I took a few classes on how to start a nonprofit. I had no idea what I was getting myself into. It's like a business, only, you know, it's a whole different bylaws, a lot of things that you have to be careful.
Whole big old board of directors.
Yes, so I had to recruit women, and we're like, hey, you want to get on this crazy wagon with me? And luckily they were like, sure. Also not knowing what they were getting themselves into. But, you know, we have this wonderful board that have been with me since the beginning. So, yeah, it was born in August of 2020, the entity, but we didn't become a 501c until February of 2021.
Congratulations, because that's a huge accomplishment for both of us that were trying to get into the nonprofit world. It is a lot of work.
Yeah, it is. It's a lot of paperwork, but you know, we got through it because we had the time. And I was like, if it's not going to happen now, it's not going to. And then I had this nudge that you need to get out there. You have this, you know, talent, this gift to give to people, and it needs to happen. So that's what I did, and I ran with it, and I've been running with it, and this is going to be the 3rd year for the summer camp, and I always say it's the heart of Mini Poderosas because we have the girls longer. We get to keep them for 3 days, and we teach them self-confidence skills, social-emotional learning, and then leadership. And this year we've added nutrition, yoga.
I saw that. That's so amazing.
It's so exciting. And then financial literacy that we're also grabbing the parents to take the class with us, because I always, as a school psychologist, whenever I meet with parents and there's an issue, I always say, you know, it takes a village to raise children. And as an educator, it makes a difference when you are also part of it. And I'm not going to introduce the girls when you're not aware of what's going on.
Yeah.
And I always tell them I'm going to teach them this, this, and that. And it works better if you reinforce it at home. So the parents are also taking a financial class that's going to be held tomorrow.
Nice.
And then we're going to introduce that financial aspect that they don't teach in the schools. So, but that's the journey with Meanies.
That's beautiful. That is beautiful. And so tell us a little bit about the camp.
Yeah, so the camp, like I said, we have them for 3 days. And then we're doing a little bit something different this year with the leadership, introducing the entrepreneurship aspect. And I'm going to ask them to come up with an idea of what they want to do, something creative. And then we just got a photographer on board, Lexi Photography. She's amazing.
Oh, nice.
She's going to do headshots for them.
Oh, I
How
love that.
cool.
Yeah, and so we're going to create little business cards for them. So that's new this year, along with the nutrition and yoga. And really is what you guys said, you know, we're teaching them those self-confidence skills now, so that in the future it becomes easier for them and it becomes a habit, so they don't struggle and hesitate, because most of us as women of color, we struggle with the imposter syndrome.
Yes.
And if we don't learn it when you're young, it's a lot harder when you're older. I think that these girls need to be occupy those spaces that, you know, when I was little,
Yeah,
I never thought I would be where I'm at now.
Yeah,
To go to
you-
college,
Exactly.
none of that.
and that's exciting. That is really exciting to show them that the world is out there, and you just need to go and knock those doors down.
Make room at the table. I always say,
Yeah.
they're not making room. Like, I don't know who quoted that, but bring the folding chair.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Add a seat to the
Squeeze
table.
in there.
Yeah.
Squeeze it.
How exciting. And so I see that you're hiring.
I am. Although, you know, the Mini Poderosas is not paid yet. I'm saying yet because
It will manifest it.
Yes, it will happen. We're in the process of writing grants. It has grown already. And even if you want to if this is most geared for high schools or that people that have just graduated or are in college, we want to be able to give those hours to you, those community service hours. And we teach you, it's an internship. We teach you, we invite you to the board meetings so that you can see what it looks like to have board meetings. Your front seat, you know, we invite community guest speakers like Adelita Grijalva, and then we're working on you guys will hear more about the leadership panel. We're putting together a group of leaders in the community to come and talk to the girls about leadership.
How exciting.
So they get the front seat of that. So if you're interested, we're looking for an intern to do administrative work. And it's very busy around this time, but throughout the year it's very passive, and you get to set your hours. And so, yeah, if you are interested, just let us know.
Awesome. Thank you. And where can they find you?
So we are very active in Instagram and Facebook, and so they can find us there.
What are the handles?
What do you mean?
What are your Instagram?
Or like mini.
Mini
at Mini.
Poderosas. Oh, I see what you mean. Sorry.
I'm like, I handle all
Tech-savvy.
kinds of stuff. She handles a
Oh my
nonprofit
God.
business.
I have so many roles. I'm a mom. So it's Mini Poderosas, and then on Facebook it's the same, Mini Poderosas of Tucson, I believe. But if you just do a search, it'll come out. And then we have a phone number there that the current intern also handles that. We do have an intern already with us, but we're hiring another one just because we are getting busy. It's getting busy.
Congratulations.
Yeah, I'm so impressed.
Yeah.
I am too. I mean, that's so amazing. It's always nice to see other women, like I said, to see you women create something that is so fruitful to the community, to inspire. You know, if just one of these young ladies sees, you know, Jackie or you, and they're seeing that they're doing something great, they can think, I can do it too. It's just setting that example.
Right.
You know?
And that was the whole purpose of it, because that mentorship, I didn't have one that looked like me. So I thought about when I created this, I was like, what can I do to my Mini? You know, my own inner Mini.
Yes.
Is like, I want to be able to grab community members and be like, how can we make this happen for her to have those resources available? So that you can say, you know.
And then also showing them that their community is there for them as well. That you actually have a spot here in this community.
Right.
Don't be afraid to reach out. Don't be afraid to go to your city hall or to go and talk to a police officer or go and try to talk to the mayor. Because these are our, these are our civic leaders that are here for us. And so it's always important to share that as well.
Yeah, because we can learn from each other, and that's why I always think about the space that you're creating at Luna's Soul is a place where it's going to be like a family. You know, you're going to go there and be like, oh, I can do this here, because I find that support system. Because a lot of I working in the schools, let me tell you, there's a lot of children that don't have that guidance and they don't have that support system. So when I thought about Mini Poderosas, is creating that support system for them so that they can thrive and they can say, I can do this. And I know there's a lot of people in the community that do similar work. And that's how I came across Selena, because she reached out to me. She's like, hey, I want to know more.
I know. She was like, you really need to know her.
And so when we met, we aligned because we're like, she's doing similar work. And we were all of the Reina committee, when they came together, it was like magic. I can help with this, I can help with that. And it was like wonderful to see what a community can do when we join forces.
Yes.
It's not like a single thing. When people say, oh, it's your nonprofit, and it's like, no, I created it because I saw the need.
Right.
But there's all these people now behind it that support us, that believe in our mission, that I'm very grateful. And I know we're on startup mode, but I know it's going to be big. I just, I feel it. And I think it's because of the community that I feel that.
Yeah, like this whole podcasting, I was just like, I never thought that it was going to go this direction. And then I talked to Diego, and he was like, you just got to get in there. And I was like, Diego, this is not my style. This is not my thing. And he was like, you got to talk about it. You got to be out there. You got to be. I go, but it's Simply Hermosa is not about me. It's about the other women. He goes, exactly. So get out there. Start talking about it. Start promoting. Start bringing women in and start uplifting. Because that's really what it is let's uplift as many as we can.
And you never know who's listening. That's the beauty of podcasts.
Exactly.
Like, I love listening to podcasts. The podcast that really got me inspired to start the mobile boutique was Super Mamas. I don't know if you're familiar with that. Shout out to the Super Mamas in Los Angeles. But that's when I heard a lot of the entrepreneur moms, a few of them, like Patty Rodriguez, the author of Little Libros, the owner of that Little Libros publishing company. But listening to those podcasts sparked something in me, or where I was like, okay, if they could do it, then I could go back and return to Tucson and do something with that was in my soul, but I didn't know how to release it. Because again, going back to business or entrepreneurship, when I was younger, I would think business, it wasn't something that I gravitated towards, because I didn't really see a lot of women of color. It's mostly men in briefcases, what you see on TV. So the podcast, what you're doing, is awesome, because you never know who's listening.
And you're opening the doors. And
Absolutely.
And then it's access, hopefully everybody could go online.
And I'm trying to bring as many women together to the show, to highlight, because again, the question is, and I haven't forgotten you, but it's such an important, empowering question. What makes you beautiful? Because every woman's story is different, and everybody's vision of themselves is different as well.
Yeah, and it changes throughout the years,
Exactly.
In my 20s, if you would ask me something different, or that same question, I would have answered it different.
Or in high school.
Exactly, And now I'm all about energy and the people and the inspiration, not so much of what perfume I'm wearing,
I always say the viejita goals.
Or what,
It's
what
called
else
Senora
too?
Goals now.
Senora goals.
Remember? Senora Goals.
Senora goals, yeah. Dancing brings me beauty, laughing, just the little joys, that have lasted throughout the daytime.
So I have a question for you, because again, it's loving yourself in the mirror. So if you had to pick a physical attribute, what would it be?
Probably my smile. Just because I know how powerful a smile can be. Just how those memes say, just smile when you're walking across the room, or how that other meme of like, you could feel somebody's energy when they walk into a room, and I always try to radiate some type of smile or just at least something positive. I'm big on customer service, so that's why Luna y Sol, I guarantee you all, we're going to have good customer service, because when you enter a business or when you enter a meeting, and if you're like stoic or like just quiet, or not even quiet, just kind of like, not open to getting to know or network, people can feel that energy. So a smile goes a long way, especially to somebody that you don't know their story or you don't know the struggle they're dealing with. Because I've been on those sides where I wasn't having bright days, and it was just a smile going in a Target or at a coffee shop. And if somebody's smiling at you, it could last a long time.
And then that smile, again, you go into a shop and then they just kind of look at you and then you're like, okay, you're having a bad day.
Or am I welcome?
Yeah. Like, is my money welcome here? Like, do I need to be here? Like, maybe not. And I've seen it. I've seen women walk out or men walk out if the greeter is not happy, and it's just kind of.
I'm the same way. I worked customer service for the longest time, and so to me that's very important. When I walk in, I want to be acknowledged. And I want to feel welcome.
And appreciated. Everybody wants to feel appreciated. And sometimes folks, might need a little extra praise or just show a little extra gratitude. But, people want to be seen. And sometimes if you feel invisible, it affects the mental state of somebody. And that's what we're all trying to do, is make sure that people feel seen, along this journey.
Absolutely. And so, now I'm going to put you in the hot seat.
For the
question.
Question like, of the hour.
She's like, what?
She's like, it's really hot in here.
Well, it's not going to be a short answer, but I'll try. So kind of along the lines what Selena stated, is having that self-love. I think that when you have that self-love, you honor yourself, and then you build that self-confidence to be able to turn off that background noise. That background noise that tells you how you're supposed to look, what you're supposed to feel. And I think that as women, we are exposed to that on a daily basis, now more than ever with social media.
Oh, yeah.
With filters, with how you're supposed to look. And so if you have that self-love, you are able to honor yourself and not listen to that background noise and release that energy that makes you beautiful, no matter where you go. And you're going to take that light wherever you go. And like Selena said, that smile is going to radiate, that energy is going to radiate. So you are going to feel beautiful no matter what you look or, what society is telling us to look. And now I want to give credit to people and businesses that are already honoring our all sizes, but I don't think that, I think that they were forced into doing it.
Yeah.
It wasn't, I think that we still have a long way to go. And I think that I'm teaching that to the minis to be able to look at themselves in the mirror and say say that positive affirmations that we need on a daily basis to feel beautiful.
Because they are getting like bombarded, like just the older, as the older kids that they're looking at, even
for the celebrities,
the Disney characters, even the Disney Channel is showing a lot of unrealistic. It would be so nice to have just realistic body types on there for young girls, especially young girls. Well, and I think young men too, because again, we focus so much on the young ladies, but there is also a stigma for young men, to be a certain way, to look a certain way. And I just want, we've all seen it. There's tons of, little gorditas out there, and someday somebody's going to tell her that that's not okay, and that's going to be heartbreaking for her, because she's just existing.
Exactly. But if you have that self-love, I think that overall, what makes me beautiful and a lot of people that are around me beautiful is that self-love you have. Because if you don't have it, then you're going to listen to it, and then it's going to turn ugly, like what we say is ugly attitude, ugly life that you feel down, you know. But if you have that self-love, then it becomes, you have inner peace, and you take it wherever you go. So to me, that's beautiful. That's very beautiful. Because anyone that has inner peace, anything else just falls into place. So
yeah, and then it like transforms right into other like people or just situations, places, like even just like like buildings. You know, it's that book, The Four Agreements. I love that book.
Oh, yeah.
Don Miguel Ruiz that talks about that.
Very good.
book changed my life.
Very powerful.
Yeah.
Me too.
We're going to cry.
I know.
Are we going there?
We always do. If anybody that knows, usually if I meet for the first time, we'll have coffee and then I'll shed a couple happy tears or just like emotional tears. You know, I could feel, I'm an empath. Sorry.
Yeah, someone said, don't have coffee with Selena.
I know.
This past weekend or the
2 weekends ago. But why did they say that? Not in a bad way.
Not in a bad way.
They said don't have coffee because...
You will walk out as a change maker.
Yeah, or you'll walk out like with a job,
so
like of an idea.
Like, we had this conversation and then I just manifested all kinds of stuff and I was like, okay, well, she's the magic touch. Let me just go rub her again, you know. Let me have some of that coffee that she's drinking. Because again, you know, when you have that energy and you're able to give it off, that's so, like I said, you're very empowering.
Oh, thank you.
Love it.
And that's what we're all here, you know, to empower each other.
Yeah.
Yes.
It is beautiful.
And to
All right.
That's what makes us beautiful.
Uplift, because some days we all feel drained and doubtful, you know. It's really important to come together, even if it's like an hour or so. I appreciate you both,
Yeah,
you know.
thank you
Thank
for
you.
having us.
Thank
And
you.
it's
Yeah.
really, and to check up on each other,
Yes.
too, because I think a lot of people, too, when you have a job like as an educator or someone that influencer in the community that you do a lot of giving, some people forget, you know, that you also have your own struggles.
Yeah.
'Cause a lot of people are like, oh, you're a psychologist, you hold yourself pretty well. And I'm like, well,
Yeah.
I have the
do
tools, but then I am also in
That's
the
what I
dark.
let you see.
Or
That's
people
what
don't
I
know
let
how
you
much
see.
work like
Yeah.
it takes. It takes
It
a lot of
really
work,
energy.
like
Yeah.
to, I don't want to say to maintain, but just to like celebrate.
Yeah.
It does. It takes work to like
Because it's
wake up a little
emotions.
earlier and meditate, you know.
Yeah.
All those routine exercises I started to really do in 2020, you know, and why it took the pandemic for me to like sit with it and journal, meditate.
I wake up at 4 now. I was telling Selena because I have twins, so they're very busy, and that's only quiet time.
Yeah, so I could text her early, and I know she'll get it.
And you don't feel guilty?
Yeah,
was
I don't
like-
wake her up.
I'm like, these two girls are scrolling already. That's not
Yeah.
good.
And I know.
I'm like,
People are like, when do we sleep?
and then I'm like, okay, it's kind of late. Should I send this or not?
Oh, by 9
Yeah.
I'm asleep, but I'll get it at 4.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I have one last question for you because I did ask Selena. Now I'm going to ask you, what is the physical attribute that you love about yourself?
Well, I was gonna go with smile, yes, but also I think, my eyes too. I think that you can tell by someone's energy and with your eyes and your smile together. Because if you're not welcome, but you're like this, and you're like giving that ojo. But I think, honestly, I think the smile is really, I'm going to go with that too, because you're right. You can make someone's day with that. And it can go a long way. So every time I look in the mirror and I smile, I'm like, you're beautiful.
That's how I knew when we first met. I hadn't met her. You know, I saw what she was doing on Instagram, and I was like, I'm just going to send her a message and tell her, you know, because sometimes you do this work, and not saying you need praise again, but sometimes you just want to be seen. And so I wanted to let her know that I saw what she was doing. I wanted to let her know that I was support however I can. But when she walked in where we were meeting, I was like, oh, that's probably her because she was smiling.
Yeah.
So it did. It was like, oh, this is cool. I'm going to get to meet with her and talk to her and get to know what she's doing. And now she was our judge for our Reina Prom giveaway. And hopefully we're going to be doing some stuff inside Luna y Sol, you know, knock on wood.
And then you are both, I'm super honored again to have you guys come and participate at Simply Hermosa, hopefully in some pretty big roles. Thank you so much. And yeah, as long as you want to be a part of Simply Hermosa, you're always welcome.
Thank you. I'm going to have to see what's in my closet too for Mi Reina Mo Boutique. I would love to keep that honor of,
Yeah.
your fashion show.
And
which
I'm
is
super
awesome to
excited
see.
because this year we're going back. We're por mis raíces.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So it's a little bit of a different show. It's a little bit smaller this year. We are focusing on the scholarships. We will have Mariachi Pueblo Viejo. We will have Compañía Danza Folclórico. So again, a little bit different this year. I've got returning, last year we had Ruben, so he'll be back cooking our food this year. So again, it's just a lot of more traditional Mexican, dishes and things like that. So I'm excited about
Exciting.
it.
That is exciting.
Well, congrats on keeping that going, the consistency. Sometimes it's hard to be consistent.
Yeah, and I'm just like, okay, well, let's look at what we did. Again, going back to the drawing board. What did we do well? And then what... And my, and I love my mom. She's been one of my biggest supporters. She's always around, and your mom went to both of them, I think.
Just last year.
Did she?
Yeah. The first year I went, and I was like, well, what am I getting myself into?
Yeah.
And then I knew just how cool it was. The fashion show was just something that I've never seen, Mi Reina Mo Boutique, the clothes that I've had in my mind and designed. I've never seen that on a fashion show.
Oh, that's
so
neat.
it was very emotional to see, and to see all these women,
So being in that room too is this whole. It's so magical to see a woman just kind of blossom.
Oh, it was amazing. I loved all the models and their confidence. Walk
so
down,
great.
and
Yeah.
I wanted to make sure my mom was able to experience that with me and see it.
Yep.
But yeah, planning an event it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
So when you see it finished, it's almost like don't you feel nice when it's happening and you're seeing all of that, like all of your effort?
Honestly,
It's stressful. I know.
After
the fact, that I'm like,
You
I
cry.
can breathe now. I can breathe now.
Yeah.
Because in the moment that you're in it, for me, I've got a whole board now, and they're like, oh, you're not doing this, 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 and this, because you don't get to be in the front, and you don't get to greet people, and you're in the back running back and forth.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So, my board of, the committee members that I have brought together, they're like, no, we're taking some of the control away from you so that you can actually enjoy what you've worked so hard to do. So I'm very, very grateful for them. And yeah, I'm hoping to I have this vision, and I hope that it comes true. Because, again, we always have this vision of what we want it to look like. And so, I've been incredibly blessed to have amazing people around me to help me create the vision.
It.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it goes into communities, delegation, and making sure that the folks share the same vision and passion, and that's something that...
That's key.
Yeah, that's key for
and
sure.
then the big part now, again, we kind of took on a bigger piece of raising the money for the scholarship. Because, again, I want to be able to, God willing, someday be able to take some of that money and give it to one of her kids when they need it for school.
That would be amazing.
Yeah. And her sister this year is going to be a senior. So maybe, God willing, next year we can actually help, make that a little bit easier for them. But there's so many stories out there of deserving students. So
yeah, and they're going to hopefully be impacted in a positive way with all the people coming together.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's what I've got going on.
It's a lot. So she's going to go start planning.
Actually,
October
14th. And we've got a big fundraiser coming up June 11th at the Casey Ballroom.
Okay.
We're doing a dinner and dance. So,
cool.
Yeah, that's one of our big ones. And then,
fun.
Yeah, it's a Sunday, and it's gonna, we'll be in there early and get out early, just because, again, we need to raise as much funds as we can for the scholarship, because I have a big goal.
Yeah, so those funds are going directly into the scholarship.
Yep.
Okay.
Cool.
Nice.
Yeah, we have a couple of projects on the burner right now.
We'll spread the word.
I will.
Yeah, for sure.
I'm like, I didn't do a flyer for that, but I got to start talking about it because it's less than a month away now.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now that you're talking about it, now people will hopefully listen
and start looking
follow
at
up with it.
because it is up on, the scholarship is up on the screen. We are talking about it in the community with a lot of my different network, but we are looking for sponsors. We are looking for people that want to contribute to this scholarship as well. So any help that we can receive, we're very grateful and honored.
That would be great. Yeah.
So thank you so much, ladies, for being here. It was a pleasure.
Thank you.
It's always a fun time with both of you.
Went by so fast.
And I can't wait to see what else we're going to get into soon.
Oh my gosh, I can't wait too. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
You're gonna
All
have to,
positive.
she's going to have to
Over
kick,
coffee for sure, though.
yeah.
Yes.
You're going to have to kick us out of Luna and Sol. It's time for you girls to go.
I'll turn off the lights.
Just lock up. We'll be there. We'll lock up on our way out.
Yeah, no, I can't wait. It's. I don't know if it's fully hit me, but I think it'll hit me once I'm serving coffee or people are drinking coffee and we're talking about this moment in a few months from now, hopefully.
Yeah. And it's going to be magic.
Yes. Well, thank you.
Thank you. Good night.
Bye.
Bye.